Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else who you think may find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. Some of you may have seen that over the past week, Governor Baker did activate a couple hundred members of the National Guard here in Massachusetts to assist in COVID-19 testing for our students. Gardner Public Schools was selected as one of the districts that will be receiving National Guardsmen to help with our pool testing in our schools. For those of you who aren't familiar with that program, some randomly selected students who are on the signed off list by parents get tested periodically as a small sampling of the schools to see how our testing is doing in terms of if students are positive or not, and that's how we help track to see if there's any in-school spread. However, the state hires those testing employees, not the school district, to make sure that that testing gets done. Since the state is having a hard time hiring those medical professionals to conduct the testing, the governor will be having the National Guard take up that place temporarily until those positions can be filled. So Gardner will be receiving National Guard help at all of our schools to assist in our testing with our student population there. So if you see National Guardsmen at any of our schools in the upcoming weeks, that is why. We wanted to make sure the public knew about that so there was no confusion. We want to remind people that there is an upcoming election for city offices on November 2nd. That is the first Tuesday of November. The deadline to register to vote was last week. However, you can now still send in an application to either vote by either absentee or by mail. Now, the difference between those, and the city clerk asked me to just mention that here, is that if you are absentee voting, and that you can do in person in City Hall now in the booth in the hallway on the first floor outside the city clerk's office at room 121, that means that you will not be able to be in the city on election day, or you cannot leave your house on election day due to a medical reasoning, a religious observance, or there's something that impedes you from voting through either the mail-in voting process or on election day. You can come and vote in person in City Hall right now through the absentee process. The mail-in process is our early voting process here in Gardner City Hall. You simply fill out the mail-in voting application that you can either find online on the city clerk's website at www.gardner-ma.gov, or you can obtain one in person here in Gardner City Hall. The way that statute is written on the state level is your ballot has to be mailed to you from the city clerk's office. However, you can either mail the ballot back after you fill it out, you can drop it off in person in the drop box outside Gardner City Hall that is checked several times a day, or you can hand your ballot directly to either the city clerk or the assistant city clerks in room 121 here in Gardner City Hall. The ballots are in, and you can early vote as soon as you get your application into us, and we can mail the ballot back to you through the city clerk's office. So all of that is now currently being offered. So if you would like to either absentee vote or early vote, that is being done now. If you choose to vote in person on Election Day, the polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 2nd. Reminder that Ward 1 will be voting at the Elks, Ward 2 at Gardner Public Library, Ward 3 is moved to the auditorium here at Gardner City Hall, Ward 4 at the police station, and Ward 5 at the Polish American Citizens Club. So again, if you're looking for any of that information or have any questions on that, contact the city clerk's office and talk to either Faith Glover or John Oliveri, our assistant city clerks, or TT Serafan, our city clerk here in Gardner, and they'd be happy to answer any of those questions for you if you can't find it on the city clerk's page on the website. Monday's city council meeting will be conducted via Zoom instead of in person. One of our city councilors has come in contact with COVID-19, so out of an abundance of caution, City Council President Lizzie Kaczynskis has decided to hold that meeting remotely as is currently allowed under the open meeting law. If you're looking to watch that city council meeting, it will be held via Zoom and not in person. And as always, it'll be uploaded to the city's YouTube page after that. And it will be aired on Gardner Educational Television live as well. So please keep that in mind if you are interested in watching the proceedings of Monday's city council meeting. We are continuing with our paving projects here in Gardner. Crews this past week did mill Parker Street from the square at Central Street all the way down to Lafayette Square. They will continue down to Jean Street beginning on Saturday, October 15th. So please plan ahead on that one. We did finish paving Chapel Street and Willis Road. and we are still working to install the water lines on Green Street, Woodland Avenue, and on West Street. West Street, we're going from Lafayette Square to Monadnock. Woodland Avenue, we're going from Central Street to the hospital, and Green Street, we're also going from the Uptown Rotary to the hospital area as well. Please note that neither of these projects are tied to the hospital's expansion project, but we're replacing a water line that was put in 1927. So it's taking a little longer up there just because of the amount of ledge that is underground and the extra construction work and materials that it's taking to get through that ledge in order to put the pipe in the ground. But we're hopeful that that'll get done sometime soon. Downtown on Parker Street should be paved within the next 2 weeks, but it depends on how quickly we can go through and mill that section of the city. And we'll keep posting updates about all of this on the Gardner City Hall Facebook page and on the city's website as well, to make sure people know how to navigate through the city with the different traffic detours that come up. We are hopeful that we'll be able to get to Warwick Road by the time that this is all done, before the season's up. However, if for some reason the weather does not cooperate, there is a small chance that that will have to get pushed until the spring. We will reevaluate that as things go forward and make sure everyone has all the information they need to plan ahead should anything happen in the Warwick Road area as well. Our crews are still working on the water project over in the Wickman and Robillard section of the city as well. Things are a little slower there just because we had an incident this past week where a contractor went to grab one of the water pipes that was underground, and it was not realized that there was an electrical service that wrapped around that pipe, so the contractor was electrocuted. He is fine and is expected to make a full recovery now. However, that did slow down work over there because we needed to make sure that the electricity was off before we continued any work over in that area. That has since been rectified, and crews are back to working and should be back on schedule by the time mid next week comes around, and finishing that project over there to finish putting the pipes in the ground and getting at least the base pavement layer in that area done as well. There will be several banners put up shortly in the windows of the Ryan Block in the Old Temptations building to highlight some of the projects that we have going on here in Gardner. It's just a small thing that we're doing with our DPW and our Community Development Department to help make it look a little nicer in that section of the city and help keep residents informed about different projects that you may not realize are happening there. While we do have our project map that's interactive on the city's website, as well as some printed versions here in Gardner City Hall, sometimes you just may not realize it. So if you're walking in the area and you see some new banners in those windows coming up within the next week or two, that's what information will be put on those, the banners that are in those windows as well, just to help spruce up the area a little bit. We'll also be doing a small event within the next 2 weeks in the downtown area. Lieutenant Governor Polito will be coming out to Gardner at some point. We don't have a firm date about that, but there will be an announcement associated with her visit here in Gardner. We expect it to be in the third or fourth week of October, but we will let the public know for sure when she is able to come once we get a finalized date from the governor's office as to what works for hers and Governor Baker's availability to come and visit the city of Gardner as well. The last thing that we want to say before we do our closeout here is I want to welcome State Senator Ann Goby as Gardner's new state senator following the federal census that takes place every 10 years. The state is required to redraw all of the different voting and legislative districts statewide. They've released the state legislative districts for the State House and the State Senate. Those this past week. Gardner will still remain in Representative Zlotnick's district, but we will no longer be in Senator Cronin's district. We will be in Senator Goby's. So we will not be with Fitchburg and Leominster anymore, but we will rather be with some of the smaller towns, Gardner, Hubbardston, Westminster, Rutland, Oakham, Paxton, Holden, and a small piece of Worcester all the way down to Spencer. So that is Senator Goby's new district. So I do want to just wish Senator Goby a warm welcome from the city of Gardner, and I look forward to working with her to help promote us here in our little section of North Central Massachusetts. Before we end this video, we just want to do a quick reminder from the Board of Health to continue to be vigilant about the COVID-19 pandemic. Our numbers are ticking up slightly, so please just be vigilant. Wear a mask if you feel that you'd be safer to do so. Whether it's mandated or not, it's always a precaution that can be taken. Please make sure you can keep that distance if you are able to in an indoor setting, and just keep in mind of what's going on and that we aren't fully out from under this pandemic yet. And while we are able to have our businesses open again and have these events and gatherings like we weren't able to last year that we still should be trying to do so in a safe manner. So the Board of Health did ask me to just put that plug in there at the end. However, that concludes this week's Mayor's Update. Please try to do something this week to help get outside. Go to one of our sports games at our high school or our middle school to just support our students and get out and try to do something fun. It's nice to do something that you can help celebrate your city and just get your mind off of the craziness of the world and just try to relax for a little bit. But until we speak again next week, I hope you have a great day and we'll speak soon. Thank you very much.